defensive line show. They had great defense. They won on defense, special teams, offense, coaching. They won in every aspect of that game. Urban Meyer.
This little blue stripe right there, and I always like the relics with the nice blue, with the nice stripe down them.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be previewing the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship game. The Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Clemson Tigers. Both teams coming into this game undefeated. The first time that we will ever have a College Football Playoff National Champion that has gone a full season undefeated. As both teams come into this game 14-0, winning their respective conferences, winning their playoff games. We're going to break down each team, what it's going to take to win, and their season in review, how they got to the college football playoff, talk about key absences in this game, and make our predictions for the College Football Playoff National Championship. Leave your predictions in the comments below about who's going to win the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship game, but let's get right into it. We're going to start with the 2 seed, the Clemson Tigers. Clemson having a dominant season. Early in the year, they were going with Kelly Bryant as quarterback. It was working pretty well for them, but they had Trevor Lawrence waiting behind him, the freshman quarterback. He was as good as advertised, as a lot of people said. If he's as good as advertised, they can see Kelly Bryant being overtaken. Exactly what happened. So, Bryant ended up transferring schools. Early in the season, they had a close game against Texas A&M, a team who finished with a decent record, defeated LSU, so some quality wins. A quality team that they only beat by 2 points, but that was with Kelly Bryant as quarterback. Trevor Lawrence has showed up in the big games as a freshman quarterback, defeating the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 30-3, having an impressive performance. And if he can show up like that against Alabama, Clemson's going to have a legitimate shot to win this game. Not just a legitimate shot, they will have a better chance to win this game. So, that's how I see it. The game plan for Clemson is going to be have Trevor Lawrence throw the football effectively, the same way he did against Notre Dame, because if you're the Alabama defense, if you let him throw like he did against Notre Dame, he's going to pick you apart. And depending on how the defense for the Clemson defense plays, I don't think that's going to put Alabama in a big hole. So Clemson, their game plan is going to have to be throw the football effectively, just like they did against Notre Dame. And speaking of that Notre Dame game, Clemson firing on all cylinders, even without Dexter Lawrence, were able to fire on all cylinders, able to do everything right. Pass the football was effective, running the football was effective, defense was effective in every possible way. They won in every aspect of that football game. 30-3 the final score, holding Notre Dame to their fewest points in the BCS National Championship or New Year's Six Bowl game since 1988. 3 points. So an impressive win for the Clemson Tigers. They're going to need to do more of the same against the Alabama Crimson Tide, who have had an even more dominant season than these Clemson Tigers. Alabama hasn't been they've been in one close game all season. Beginning of the season, a lot of controversy at who they were going to put in a quarterback. Is it going to be Tua Tagovailoa, the man who led them to a national championship last season, or is it going to be Jalen Hurts, the experienced Crimson Tide? They ended up going with Tagovailoa, which was the right choice because Tua Tagovailoa has been dominant all season. He nearly won the Heisman. Kyler Murray just ended up playing better than him towards the end of the season. Tua with some ankle issues, but that definitely didn't show against Oklahoma. And he did everything right. The RPO was working perfectly for Alabama. That's exactly how they're going to have to beat Clemson. Using the RPO, picking apart the Clemson secondary, and they're going to have to win the battle up front with Clemson, who is missing a key player. That's what we'll talk about after this, but Alabama, their defense, fantastic. Their offense, even better. than Clemson's. So you really got to think, is Tua Tagovailoa going to be the Tagovailoa that shows up, or is it going to be Georgia Tua Tagovailoa? Because against Georgia, he didn't have the best of days. Ended up leaving with an ankle injury, threw 2 interceptions. That was more than he had thrown all of the regular season against the Georgia Bulldogs, who just missed out on the playoffs. And they had their argument, and then they lost to Texas. So they really didn't belong in the playoff. They had Notre Dame. In my opinion, it was Ohio State after the bowl game performances. But back into the Alabama Crimson Tide. Close game with Georgia. They ended up having Jalen Hurts have to come in and be the Alabama savior when they were down 28-14 in the second half. Hurts led them to a 35-28 victory. Excuse me. So, depending on which Tua Tagovailoa shows up, that's how this game is going to go. Whichever Tua Tagovailoa shows up, that's going to be the tone that is going to be the tone that is set for the game. That's going to be the pacemaker for the rest of this game. To see which Tua Tagovailoa shows up, but let's talk about some key absences in this game. First, we start with Clemson missing Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle for the Clemson Tigers, taking a banned substance. He is out for an entire year, so he will most certainly be going to the draft. He is not going to be able to play. The leading defensive tackle, the leader on that defensive line for the Clemson Tigers. Now you have to turn to Christian Wilkes, who is a very good defensive tackle, but now you don't have that duo of Wilkes and Lawrence. So that puts Alabama in a lot of comfort and a lot of trouble for the Clemson Tigers that can give Alabama a clear advantage to win the battle up front with missing Dexter Lawrence on Clemson's side of the football. Now it's prediction time. With the things I just went over, I believe that Trevor Lawrence, he won't have the most impressive of days, in my opinion. That Alabama secondary and defense is just way too good. They showed it against Kyler Murray, especially in the first quarter. I think it's going to be more the same from Alabama in their college football playoff national championship. They're going to get off to a fast start. I think that Clemson will get off to a pretty fast start too, but they're not going to be able to keep pace with the Alabama Crimson Tide. In my opinion, I think Tua Tagovailoa, the Heisman, Tua Tagovailoa shows up. The Tua Tagovailoa that was going to win the Heisman for 3/4 of the season. I think that Alabama, everywhere with the RPO on offense, everywhere on defense, it's going to be too much for the Clemson Tigers. Alabama will be the first undefeated national champion in the college football playoff era. So thank you guys for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. I will be coming out with a podcast very soon. It'll be Michael's Sports Podcast, around an hour long, covering topics all around the sporting universe. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And until next time, again, thank you guys for watching this video.